Welcome. In the previous video, we have seen two computational models which are used for embedded system software hardware co-design. They were data flow graph model and control data flow graph model. So both are data driven, but control data flow graph model will consider control operations also. That was the main difference. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the most extensively used model, that is state machine model. This is more extensively used because all the real-time reactive embedded systems are modeled using state machine model usually, and you know that most of the embedded systems are real-time. So we call such system as event-driven embedded systems. Okay, and the behavior of these systems depend on state transitions. So embedded systems which are used in control and industrial applications are typical examples for these reactive embedded systems. Okay, so the state machine model describes the system behavior, okay, with four parameters or four things, that are states, events, actions and transitions. State is basically a representation of current situation, what is happening now. An event is input to the state. In the sense, an event is going to drive the state. It acts as a stimuli for state transition. So obviously transition indicates the movement from one state to another, and action is what you are going to achieve. So action is basically the activity to be performed by the state machine. So if you can understand these four parameters of state machine model, it's very easy to visually model a state machine from the requirements. So usually in industrial applications, the requirements will be given in long English sentences. So as a designer, we should be able to read, understand the English sentences, what is the actual requirement is. Obviously you have the freedom to convert into the required format. Maybe you want to convert into an algorithm, you can do it, but usually the requirements will be given, the system requirements will be given in long English sentences. So let us consider such an example to explain state machine model. And we will not put our effort in designing any state machine model. We'll put our effort in designing a finite state machine model, because a state machine model can have n number of states. So it is not advisable to go or to accept a design, okay, which has many states. From one operation to another, each operation can be represented by different states. Instead of that, we will try to occupy the system within some defined number of states. So we call such machine model as finite state machine model. Let us take an example of seat belt warning system in automotive embedded system. So the requirements are given something like this. When the vehicle ignition is turned on and the seat belt is not fastened, means the driver has not wear the seat belt, within 10 seconds of ignition on, the system generates an alarm signal for 5 seconds. So that is the basic thing. You have switched on your vehicle, the driver is on the seat and the vehicle is turned on, but the driver has not worn the seat belt. Within 10 seconds, even after switching on, the 10 seconds has passed by and you are not wearing your seat belt, then the vehicle should generate an alarm signal for next 5 seconds. So that is total 15 seconds of duration. Okay, now once this alarm is on for 5 seconds, that directly tells you that alarm should off in the 6th second after 5 seconds. So the alarm should be turned off when the alarm time expires, that is 5 seconds, or if the driver, other conditions, like if the driver or passenger fastens the belt, right, within that 10 seconds, He said, okay, ignition is on, but he took some sweet time to fasten the seat belt, maybe another 5 seconds to fasten the seat belt. So your timer started, okay, the moment the ignition is on, your timer started, and timer started counting from 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. Okay, somewhere near 7 seconds or 8 seconds, so he has fastened the seat belt, then there is no need of an alarm, so you should switch off the system, right? So these are the conditions requirement. Okay, or he turned off the ignition, that is also possible. He turned on the car and maybe suddenly he remembers something and he turned off the car and he get out of the car or so. In that case also this system should turn off, alarm should not come on. Fine. So let us try to model this using a finite state machine model. So to model any requirement using state machine, we should be able to finalize the required number of states at the initial stage. So once we have the required number of state, optimum number of state with us, then it's very easy to have the transitions if you understand the requirement. So the challenging part here is deciding the number of states. Okay, in this case let us try to find out how many states is required. So here you have this initial state always. Okay, any state machine model will have an initial state. So now we have to identify what is the initial state here. Initial state would be an alarm off situation, right? Initially alarm is off because my system is seat belt warning system. It is not car system or ignition system, it is seat belt warning system. So seat belt warning is alarm, nothing else. Okay, so I am going to design an alarm system, remember that. That is the basic requirement. So the idle situation or the initial situation is off situation of the alarm. So alarm off is my idle state or initial state maybe. So what would be the next state? Next state should be the timer state, right? So based on the event is what? Event is ignition key on is the event maybe. So based on that event will initiate this state, means alarm off state to next state. As we already discussed, there are 4 things: states, events, actions and transitions. Alarm off is a state, and what would be the event? Event is a stimulus, right? It's a stimuli for state transition. So that stimuli is ignition on. So I should go to the next state. The next state should be the timer state, or I call it as waiting state, that 10 second of waiting time. Then the third state would be alarm on state. So let us see how to draw that. Okay, how to go for it. So I have this alarm off state initially. So when the vehicle ignition is turned on, I will enter into the waiting state. In the sense, the timer starts running. So I call this as waiting period, waiting state. At this waiting state, during this waiting state, that is the 10 seconds is running. During these 10 seconds, few things can happen, right? One is he can turn off the ignition, he can put on the seat belt, or the timer can expire. The later thing is timer expiring. The first thing to happen is seat belt on, very positive, seat belt on. He has started the ignition, is very good driver, he always put the seat belt. Okay, the first thing is seat belt on. Then next is, okay, maybe he forgot something, he have to step down of the car later, or maybe something, or he has just checked whether the car is working or so, whatever. So I have to, or he has off the ignition again. Okay, so seat belt is on, off, ignition key off, or timer expire. All these 3 events will drive this state. Okay, so if ignition key off or seat belt on, it is going to alarm off state, initial state, because alarm should not work, right? So ignition key is on, you are into waiting state, and if any 2 of these happen, that is either ignition key is off or seat belt is on, you are back to initial state. Let us imagine that these 2 things didn't happen. Okay, the timer has expired, the driver never managed to put on the seat belt. So that will be the next event. So the timer expired, in the sense 10 seconds is over, then you should switch on the alarm immediately. That is the next state. You switch on the alarm and you will be here, you will be remaining in this state for next 5 seconds. Remember that. Because the requirement is that alarm signal for 5 seconds. So for 5 seconds I will be remaining in this state. So what after 5 seconds? So after 5 seconds, the alarm time will expire. because alarm time is only for 5 seconds. So this is again a timer job. So after alarm is on, again the timer will start and will count for 5 seconds, right? So once the 5 seconds is over, the alarm will be automatically off. Or during this time, this is very important to understand from the requirement. During this time when alarm is on, okay, the driver understood that, oh, he forgot to wear the seat belt, he may put on the seat belt within these 5 seconds. Even in that case also the alarm should off. The moment he fasten the seat belt, the alarm should go off. Or at the same time, okay, there is one more condition there. You have started the car, 10 seconds is over, you got an alarm and you have no idea, it's not your car, you have no idea why this alarm is on, and okay, in panic you turn off the key, you turn off the ignition. Even then the alarm should switch off. So these events will lead you to the initial state, that is alarm off state. So either after 5 seconds, that is alarm time expire, or you have managed to fasten the seat belt within that 5 seconds, or you have turned off the ignition. So all these conditions will take you to alarm off. So I hope this, how to visually model from the given requirements, is very clear for this seat belt warning system. So what is important here is to understand how I decide upon the states. How many states is required? It's a finite state machine model, remember that. So I should have defined finite number of states, and it will be event driven transitions. And finally I am going to get the action, what activity is supposed to perform by this state machine. So one more point here to remember. Whenever a timer is involved in the process, whenever you are modeling a finite state machine model and you feel that the requirement has timer involved, it is necessary to have a finite state machine model for the timer also. This is the state machine model for the system, that is seatbelt warning system. Now there is a timer involved in the second state, right? Here a timer is involved for 10 seconds. Here too a timer is involved. So this event, timer expire, right? This is the event which transits this state to this state, and this is another event here, alarm time expire, which has transited this state to this state. So here two crucial state transition is happening because of the action of timer. So it is necessary as a designer to put forward a state machine model for the timer also whenever a timer is transiting states in the actual system. So here let us look at the FSM model for the timer also. So as I told you, the initial state will be idle state. Okay, in that case for the system it was alarm off state, but for a timer it will be always an idle state. We'll start with an idle state. So here what will be the event? Event will be loading the timer. So based on the frequency of the timer, okay, what drives, which clock drives the timer, based on that I have to decide the value which has to be fed into timer, so that I'll get 10 seconds of delay, the 10 seconds of counting. We'll not go very deep into it. So those who have learned assembly programming will be knowing how to load a timer, or you can search in Google to find out how to load a timer to get 10 seconds of delay. It depends upon the clocking processor basically, that is clocking speed. Okay, so event is load timer, and the action what is going to happen is the timer count will be the new count. Then I am going to get into a new state. I call that state as ready state. So the timer is now ready to run with the loaded value. So next event which can run the timer is start the timer. So this is how we do. First we load the timer, then start the timer, then wait for the timer to exhaust. So next is ready state. From the ready state it will go to the running state if I start the timer. So timer will be started and the action will be decrementing the count and I will reach the running state. So the timer is running now. Running basically means it is decrementing the count to 0. It has started from a value, okay, and when it reaches 0, I am going to get 10 seconds of delay in first case, or a 5 seconds of delay when alarm is on. So this is true for both the timers, 10 seconds timer and 5 seconds timer as well. So from the running state, okay, if the timer out flag is set, means timer has finished the count, or timer expires in any case, because there can be interrupts in the program also. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is, if there is some interrupt calling for this timer, or it has finished 10 seconds or 5 seconds, whichever the application is, then it should go back to the idle state. So this is a typical timer FSM model. So here the timing is explained to be 10 seconds or 5 seconds. Okay, the same FSM model is applicable for 10 seconds as well as 5 seconds, 2 times in our seatbelt warning system. And this is a typical timer FSM model which can be used in all the timer applications. So I can say that this is a general representation of a timer model. Nice. So let us try to understand this FSM model by taking more examples. So that will help you to understand FSM model extensively. So the next example for an FSM model is a tea or coffee vending machine. So the requirement here is the tea coffee vending is initiated by user inserting a 5 rupee coin. After inserting the coin, the user can either select coffee or tea, or press cancel the order and take back the coin. So he has these 3 options. Okay, you put this 5 rupee coin. After putting 5 rupee coin, you feel that, oh no, I don't want a tea or coffee now, so I can cancel it, get the 5 rupee coin back, and I can walk away. Or you can put the 5 rupee coin and okay, you feel that okay, you need to have a good tea now, so you press tea. And the vending machine should be able to vend tea for you. If you press coffee, it should be able to vend coffee for you. Okay, so what is very important here to consider is, if you cancel the order, then you should get back the coin. And if you press tea or coffee, you should get tea or coffee, not the coin. Yeah, that is the requirement. So let us try to model this using a state machine, finite state machine basically. So initially, what is the first stage? We should be able to decide upon the number of states required. Right? So which are the states required here? How many states may be required? So keeping the vending machine in our mind, the first state as usual will be an idle state, right? Initial state or idle state. So it's a vending machine waiting for the coin. So here the entire requirement is based on a 5 rupee coin, right? So the idle state will be based on this 5 rupee coin. So my first state I will consider as waiting for the coin. Nice. The second state will be waiting for the input from the user, right? Because he has to decide whether he need coffee or tea, or whether he is going to cancel. So all these 3 will be considered as state B, that is waiting for the user input. Okay, that can be considered as second state. Then dispensing tea can be considered as third state, and another state, because tea and coffee are separate, like they are different entities, so we should have separate states for them. Otherwise, if you press tea, you are going to get a coffee, and if you press coffee, you are going to get tea. There are chances. So we have to separate them, right? There is a separate process. So the next state can be dispensing the tea, and one more state I should have for dispensing coffee. Okay, so this coin out, right? Taking back the coin, I will connect it with the initial state, that is the waiting for the coin itself. So first you will insert coin. Okay, in the next state, that is waiting for the user input state, I will decide whether to return the coin or whether I should go for dispensing tea or dispensing coffee. Let us see that. So the first state is, okay, let me name it as state A. So you know that what is state A? State A is wait for the coin. So first state is waiting for the coin. Now an event occurred, that is the user has inserted the coin. So basically action is just okay, I have inserted the coin. So the next state is waiting for the user input. So the vending machine has received a coin. Now the next state is waiting for the input, tea, coffee or cancel. So let us assume that he cancelled the order. After putting the coin, he felt that okay, or maybe he has to run away somewhere, or like he remembered something, so he just want to cancel and go from there, walk away from there. So he cancelled the order. So the moment you cancel the order, the action would be the coin out. So this is taken care by this state itself. Okay, so now let us assume that he has inserted the coin and he did not press cancel. Okay, then maybe he opted for T. So event is T button press. The action should be dispensing the T. So when he pressed, the moment he pressed the button T, that is T button, it will take me to the next state, state C. What is state C? State C is dispense T. So once the T dispense is over, I should return back to waiting state. That's very important. So T has dispensed, so action is done. So you have inserted a coin, you have pressed T, now the T is dispensed. Now I should go back to wait for a coin, because I am not able to, I should not, the system should not be allowed to dispense another T without another coin. So I should come back to wait for a coin state. It's very straightforward. For at state B, if you have an event of coffee button press, then you have to dispense coffee, so you'll be going to coffee state, that is state D, which says you dispense coffee, and once the coffee is dispensed, you have to go back to wait for the coin state. So I hope I could convince you how to model a finite state machine, okay, just by reading the requirements. The only challenge here is deciding upon the number of states. Number of, like when I say number of states, you should be able to design it using minimum number of states. So minimum number of states, that is why it is known as finite state machine model. Okay, finite number of states you should be able to use and design the system. So if you can overcome that challenge of deciding the number of states, finite state machine model is everyone's cup of tea. Thank you for listening, or thank you for your interest in understanding finite state machine model. We have taken 2 examples. If possible, I will come up with one more example in the next video. Thank you for watching.